Happy Friday, Internet! I hope you had a great week. It's that time again. Give me 5 minutes and I'll tell you the most important stories from around the world. Get ready to be informed because this is The Loop. In Iraq this week, young women in the Yazidi minority of Islam were finally released from captivity after being kidnapped, tortured, and publicly raped by ISIS soldiers. They had been sold into sexual slavery after ISIS captured 216 Yazidi members in the Sinjar offensive of July 2014. ISIS admitted this week in Dabiq magazine to the claims of sexual slavery, claiming that the despicable practice is justified on religious grounds. The women are finally safe, but their mental and emotional condition is sadly far from stable, according to a member of the NGO Yazda. President Obama and Cuban President Raul Castro spoke by phone this week, marking only the second time that the US and Cuba have had open diplomatic contact in over 50 years. They will meet in person this weekend during the Summit of the Americas in Panama City, Panama. It is unknown what the result of these talks will be, but US Secretary of State John Kerry and Cuban Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez had a closed-doors meeting this week that US officials have called highly productive. And in Europe, Nordic nations Sweden, Norway, Finland, Denmark, and Iceland forged a pact to stand with Baltic states against Russian aggression. Last year's annexation of Crimea from Ukraine is far from forgotten in the region, and the defense ministers of the Nordic nations released a response stating, "Russia's actions are the biggest challenge to European security. Russia's propaganda and political maneuvering are contributing to sowing discord between nations and inside organizations like NATO and the EU. Russia has not released a statement in response." The biggest story in the US this week was the tragic shooting of Walter Scott, an unarmed black man, by North Charleston, South Carolina police officer Michael Slager. We reported on that story here. The incident was caught on video, but there's an unfortunate gap in the video that yet begs speculation. Slager's dashboard camera shows Scott put his hands up and then return to his car, then get out and run from Slager. A cell phone video picks up crucial moments later when Scott, now on the ground, runs from Slager again and is shot 5 times in the back. Police claim that it is during that gap that Scott tried to grab Officer Slager's taser, leading to his use of deadly force. A campaign to raise funds for Officer Slager was rejected this week by crowdfunding website GoFundMe. In addition, a second officer in the video, Clarence Habersham, is currently being sued by Sheldon Williams, another black resident that claims that several bones in his face were broken after an assault by police. The police body cameras have been introduced as a potential deterrent to tragic assaults and shootings at the hands of police. Shield Defense Systems LLC, a firm that produces non-lethal equipment, has introduced the Zero retinal obfuscation gun as an alternative to firearms for law enforcement. The so-called compliance weapon blinds the target for 10 to 15 minutes, allowing easier, safer capture. Of course, a weapon is still a weapon, and as any gun owner will tell you, a gun is only as dangerous as the person who carries it. The company claims that the Zero does not do any lasting damage to targets, but the same claim was made about taser weapons, which have led to over 500 deaths in the US since 2001. In the world of health, a new study revealed this week that 11 different herbal supplements sold in the US contain a synthetic amphetamine that has never been tested for safety on humans. What many thought was plant-based Acacia rigidula was in fact beta-methylphenylethylamine, a lab-developed amphetamine that the FDA found in these exact same products back in 2013 but has done absolutely nothing about. Would you eat a burger grown in a laboratory? That's the gamble being taken by researchers at Maastricht University in the Netherlands, who have been making patties composed of 20,000 strands of muscle tissue grown in petri dishes. The lab-grown meat is cultivated from small pieces of cow tissue, and each piece can reportedly produce 10,000 kilograms of edible meat. The process could have major effects on not just world hunger, but the overfarming of livestock, water, and energy use. Still, it's incredibly expensive. Last year, each patty cost $273,000 to produce. Today, however, the prices dropped dramatically to $80 per kilo or $11.40 per patty. By next year, that price could drop low enough to make widespread production a distinct possibility. Popular hummus producer Sabra recalled 30,000 cases of hummus this week due to a contamination by foodborne illness Listeria. Listeria can cause fever, headaches, stiffness, nausea, abdominal pain, and diarrhea. No cases of illness have been reported from the contamination thus far, but hummus consumers should check their hummus's product code against the list of contaminated batches that is on the FDA's website. And some good news on the environmental front. A new study published in Nature Climate Change says that the world's tree population is improving for the first time in years despite decades of deforestation. Tree planting efforts in China, forest growth in former Soviet states, and above-average rainfall in the savannas have added nearly 4 billion tons of above-ground carbon since 2003. And finally, what did people love this week? In music, Furious 7's soundtrack roared to number 2 on the Billboard 200, followed by Furious star Ludacris's new album Ludaversal at number 3. Grey's Anatomy and The Real Housewives of New York achieved a shocking shakeup on the iTunes TV charts, and at the box office, Furious 7 brought home a thunderous $147 million gross last weekend. Without any significant challengers opening this weekend, expect another easy win for the universal release. And that's everything you need to know about your world this week. And hey, if you like this series, if you like The Loop, share it with your friends and family, put it on your Facebook page, let your mom and dad know, hey mom and dad, I'm not just watching gaming videos, I also take the time to learn some stuff. And also maybe they'll forgive you for all those hours you spend watching comedy videos. I'm Matt Lieberman, thanks for watching.